Tony, defeat today at the CBS Arena. What was your take on the game?
What was my take? I felt as if we were in a boxing match, really, without a knockout punch. I think I boxed them to death and yet couldn't knock them out, and we got hit on the transition, and we ended up losing a game that's, it's obviously very frustrating for us. But yeah, we have to be a bit more clinical. We have to commit a few more men into the penalty area. I've talked about young Joffrey Geldart, who's a young boy who hasn't played a lot of football, and yet he's a really talented individual. He's working probably more than he's ever worked, and yet we need him in the 6-yard box. We need him to score tap-in, one-touch finishes, and that's not a criticism, because if anything, he's working so hard for the team, and yet other people have to step forward. Other people have to get in the box. The opposite side winger has to get in the far post, and we have to score goals. It seems as if we have to score great goals to win games, but listen, we'll keep working on it. It's not as if we've got loads of options to change things. We just have to keep going with these players, and we've talked about there's no great expectation. I know we built an expectation by putting ourselves in the playoffs, but we've lost a couple now, and we have to get back to work. The good thing for me is that it's not a game every 3 days. We've got till next weekend, and I'm pretty sure if the performance level of the team regarding keeping the ball, trying to work the ball into areas, generally trying to control the football match, there's lots of positives. We obviously win and lose football matches by putting the ball in the net at one end and keeping it out the other, and I think we have to keep trying to find a way. I've said this since the day I walked in when we lost Ross Stewart in my second game. We have to find a way to win without a striker who leads the line. You look at Gorkes today, really, you could feel his threat with so little possession for them. They could still feel his threat, and it's I think the team is so down in the dressing room, but I try to give them positives. That listen, there was lots of possession, lots of half chances. We actually, Patrick missed an amazing opportunity to score in the 6-yard box there, but so it wasn't necessarily a game I looked at and thought, oh, they were better than us today. We lost a game to a better team. That's not the case. So let's keep going. Let's keep working on them. I hope the supporters keep believing in the team and see the positives that the team bring, how they can control games, but we do need to be able to put the ball in the opposition net.
You mentioned the feeling in the dressing room after the game. Just how important is it that we maintain these young lads' confidence as the week goes on?
Well, first and foremost, straight after a game, you've got to make them aware of why the result is the result, and so you have to tell them some negatives. You have to tell them about getting in the box. You have to tell them about playing simplistic football, move the ball, stop trying to do step overs and beat people when you don't need to. Just move the ball, keep the team moving forward, and as I've constantly said, and I know people will be sick of it now, but it is a learning curve for the team, and we're still trying to integrate some young players into the setup, and so when we make changes, them young lads have to understand how we play and not play their own game. They need to help the team moving forward, and I'm very confident that will happen, but it does take time, and it is a process.
Much needed breathing space next week as well, and obviously attention turns to Stoke City next week.
Yeah, first and foremost, we need to take some, give them a breather, really. As I say, normally they're in the next day after these games, and then they're preparing the day after that, and then they're having to play the game. So it's been a long 4 weeks, long month really of them playing midweek games, playing every 3 days. So my thoughts would be to give them a rest, spend some time with the family for a day or two, and then back to work and start preparing for Stoke next week at home.